right, cool. So those of you attending live, remember that you can comment in our little chat box, and you can also ask a question. And if you want, I can actually bring you up and bring your picture and video up, and we can chat just a little bit. So my intention today is to keep this short and sweet, but just to give us some useful ideas for navigating the holidays successfully. All right, so I just have a little bit of information I want to go through. And if we have any comments or feedback, then please let's feel free to share that. Okay, so we're going to start by sharing my screen, navigating the holidays, keeping it real on the road. Thanksgiving edition, because we're going to cover some recipes. I'm not going to go through the details of all of them. We're going to skim through them just to give you an idea of what we have. And then if we have anything that we want to add to it, we can before we put it into our amazing group. Now, the first thing that I want to do is just reiterate what it is that we all want. What do we want? Like in general? In general, we want to be happy. And we know that happiness starts with health. And health starts with what we learn together as far as our health foundations go. And that's real food, natural movement or functional fitness, getting sweaty most days, as Colby likes to say, having some kind of a mindfulness practice, making sure that we are putting some time and effort into getting good quality sleep and good duration of sleep. And all of those things put together are things that are going to contribute to us feeling amazing, looking, feeling, and performing our best. Now, what we notice is throughout the year, we work really hard. Usually for most of us, it's starting somewhere in January. We got New Year's resolutions, and we get on board with the things that we need to do to look, feel, and perform our best. And we work really hard all year long to get some of these habits dialed in. And we probably experience some great changes from that. And what tends to happen is we get into the holiday season, and one indulging day turns into a couple of days, turns into letting things in once a week or more often than that. And then before you know it, it's a very, very slippery slope. And I'm not saying that this happens to all of us, but it is the way a lot of us get derailed, which is why we got a lot of people for New Year's resolutions wanting to recommit. And what we want to do is try to avoid that to the best of our abilities. All right. So sometimes, seriously, in any situation, all you need is just a little bit of intention and planned thought. And this reminds me of a conversation that I had yesterday with Nick. We were talking about things that we need to do to improve our sleep. And one of the things that we talked about was making sure that we're getting outside and getting some solid brightness every day. And he was like, well, I think I do that most days. And I was like, yeah, but do you have it with an intention? Do you get out there and say, this is my time to get outside? When you get ready for your evening routine and you get like an hour and a half, 2 hours before bedtime, a lot of us think that we start to wind down, but do you have an intention to deliberately be present with that process? Because that intention makes all the difference in the world. Okay, so sometimes we just need a little bit of intention, a little bit of planned thought, and that's what I want to cover here today. So I'm going to go through the few little documents that I have. All right, this is our little kind of a cheat sheet that we put together with some strategies on keeping things straight during the holidays. And I think this is a pretty solid little process. I'm just going to talk through this, and if you have any questions, please just let me know. All right, so the first thing is this process is solid all year long. We're specifically thinking about the holidays here. I think it's really important. Again, a little intention goes a long way. It's really important to sit down and think about what it is that you want and create an intention for yourself. Now, we may already have intentions for ourselves, envisioning statements, affirmations that we use regularly, or maybe we don't use them regularly. Maybe we came up with them and we just forget about them. But I think specific to the holidays, especially if we feel like we're going to struggle, it might be useful to create some statements around the holidays. So I have this little worksheet, and I'll go over the details of it here in just a moment. But ideally, you want to create this intention and vision for yourself. And then most days, we want to sit in solitude and kind of prime ourselves for a little practice of noticing ourselves, talking to ourselves, or thinking, or not being present, because that's the skill that we're going to use to notice ourselves having urges and cravings and temptations and things like that. All right. So the intention statement or vision statement, really, really important and beneficial, can be very simple and short. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. And then I like to say, just sit in solitude every morning versus formal meditation. Although, preferably we would do a little meditation session. Even if you just have some quiet time, we just sit in silence for about 5 minutes and you're outside enjoying, the weather and the outdoors, and maybe you're on your back patio or something like that. That silence is a really good preface to sitting and reading through your envisioning statements. All right. So, and then in the morning, we're going to read through whatever it is that we put together as far as our envisioning statement, and some other things that are really, really useful. Stick to your routine. So we've worked really hard all year long to cultivate some kind of a health routine, and we want to stick to that, especially during the holidays. When I travel, like, it's just non-negotiable that I get certain things in. I remember I used to go visit my sister over in Houston or Katy, Texas, and I would get up every morning. I would go for my walk. I would come back in. I would either do a workout there, or I'd find a local CrossFit gym and pay a drop-in thing. And I remember for the first couple of times that I visited, my sister would kind of like argue a little bit, because she's like, Paul, I just want you to be here for the whole day. Why do you have to go off and do these things? Finally, she understood, and she saw that if I can just get this piece of my morning, straight and done, and feel like I've accomplished something, then I'm all yours for the rest of the day, and I'm going to show up a lot better. And so she allows me to have like the first part of the day, the first half of the day to do my own personal thing. I go for my walk, I come back, I meditate, I do a little bit of a workout, usually in their garage. I'll get a little work done on my computer, and then I feel very accomplished, and I have some momentum to make really good decisions, and I'm there for the rest of the day. Usually when I'm visiting too, I allow myself to drink more than normal, drink during the day. I indulge in some treats that she makes, which are usually pretty wholesome, and I'm not too hard on myself about it, but I put some thought into it beforehand. All right. So again, sticking to your routine, absolutely crucial no matter where you go. If you don't have a fitness facility or something like that, you can always get up, go for a walk. You can always sit for 5 minutes. You can always do some kind of an in-place workout. I have a really good Travel Wads document that I'm going to share with everyone. And you can do these things that give you some momentum for a good rest of the day. Now, as we get to our little decision moments, you just want to consciously participate in every decision. All right. So as you get to those moments, most of us are going to notice when we have the urge, the craving, or we're at that decision moment. And honestly, I don't think it's good or bad whether you go for it or don't go for it. I just think it's important to be consciously participating in that process. And that's it. If you decide to go for something, it's not a good or bad or right or wrong. It's just like, I want to be here and make a conscious decision with it, and also give myself some guidelines as far as that stuff goes. All right. And then having accountability, really useful in our little online community. We've had people use groups and partner up with people for accountability for like Sober October. I think that's something we can do for the holidays if it's beneficial. Maybe using some kind of a tracker or calendar to keep yourself straight during the holidays. Allow yourself a few days of indulging, and the rest of the days try to stay really clean. Right. And this is all very, very personal and individual. All right. And I'm going to bounce over here and see. Hey, Karen, it's good to see you again. All right, so let's keep going here, and let's go to the second part. So this is just a little worksheet. I'm going to share it in the group and share it with everyone. This is how to create an intention and vision for yourself, and just some things to consider. What are the changes that we've worked so hard for this year? What am I proud of? What is it that I want to maintain? It's really good to acknowledge the good things that have shifted in your life. And then what things am I absolutely committed to avoiding? And this is going to be very personal. Okay. Some of us are like, I'm just not going to do breads and cakes and stuff like that. Some people are going to allow that. What are the things I'm going to allow myself to indulge in? And if so, how much, how often, and when? So if you're going to allow yourself, give yourself some guidelines, give yourself some side rails, maybe consider some cutoff times for specific things. For me personally, I have a cutoff time for coffee and caffeine. I will not go past 1 o'clock. Now I'm trying to shoot for noon. I'm actually noticing improvement in my sleep from that. I will not have an alcoholic drink after 5 p.m. because it messes with my sleep too much. So maybe consider, what are your cutoff times for the things that you might want to indulge in, and make sure that you use some verbiage around your overall health routine. So we've given you a little space here to work up your own personal little envisioning and intention statements. And this is just an example that I put together. I've worked hard all year long. I've committed to real food. I've been working out consistently. I'm so happy with my results. I look, feel, and perform better than I ever have. This holiday season, I'm going to stick to the important things I know are good for me, while allowing myself to enjoy the holidays and my family and friends. I am absolutely going to avoid all wheat and bread-based foods. If my aunt makes her special pie, or if my sister makes her special pecan pie, I'm going to allow myself to enjoy it without hesitation, but I'm not going to allow myself to have more than one piece a day at most. And I'm really planning on just like the special days around the like actual Christmas. I will allow myself to have drinks, a maximum of 4 drinks in a day. And what I do when I drink, by the way, is I like to have a glass of water in between. I like to kind of like nurse it and milk it and make it go for a while. And I try to cut myself off at 4 drinks because sometimes we'll start earlier in the day and play ping pong and spike ball and stuff like that. My cutoff time for drinking is 6 p.m. no matter where I am or what I'm doing. And I'm really good with that. I will continue to get up early every day, go for a solitary walk, sit in solitude for at least 5 minutes, and do a workout of my choice. And I will get my first half of my day perfect, my morning routine, my fasting, my first meal of the day. I know that this will give me momentum to do more things throughout the day that benefit me. So that is an example of an envisioning statement. And again, you have some space to work on your own, or you can just use a blank sheet of paper and just use these different things as considerations. All right. Now, a couple of other things here. And this is kind of reiterating some of the stuff that we said, but I got some little check boxes here. Start your first part of the day off right each and every day. This will give you motivation and momentum to make better decisions or to minimum offset any damage. And so I just have a little checklist here. If you have any comments or feedback or things that we can add to this, let me know. Wake up early, go for a solitary walk, sit in solitude, have some quiet time, think about what you want, move, exercise, or get sweaty, fast for the first part of the day, or have a perfect first meal and enjoy the rest of the day. If possible, if you're debating about going somewhere or having or hosting something, sometimes if you host something, you have the ability to put out guidelines beforehand. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So if you're hosting some kind of event at your place, you can mandate or highly recommend or request no gluten and then offer some SHT approved recipes for replacement. So if someone comes back and says, oh, I wanted to bring some rolls or something like that, we have recipes for rolls and you can share that with them. And also maybe a request that people use only traditional fats and give them a list. This would be a really good educational moment, actually. You could share our fats and cooking and lipids page or something like that. And I think these are very reasonable requests. And if you have any other ideas of some things that we can put in here, like I would love to have them. When going somewhere else, you can always send your dietary preferences ahead of time. So I remember with my sister, I used to always email her and just say, hey, can you make sure that you have these few things in the fridge stocked? And I'll give you some money when I get there. And so I always have butter, or used to. Now they're real foodies, so I don't have to worry about it. I don't know that they do a lot of coffee and stuff, so I will ask for heavy cream, coconut milk, goat milk for arnica now, and some other staples, but they're pretty good about being real foodies right now anyway. So in the beginning, though, I did have to, or it was useful for me to send like this little request beforehand, and I always like to bring my own alcohol or purchase it when I get there. All right. Some other little tips and strategies here. Keep your alcohol super clean. We recommend gluten-free and gluten-reduced beverages, and just some other guidelines here about quality as far as alcohol goes, because if you're going to drink, the more sugary, the more toxic ingredients, the more you're going to feel like crap from it. And we definitely want to mitigate that to the best of our abilities. And then I love the goal or the intention of having a glass of water between every drink. Also, a couple of important things. Again, if this is going to be a challenge for us and we want to keep things real, real food and nutrient density is always going to be your friend and ally. So if you can make the priority, the primary focus of what you eat, nutrient-dense foods, which means animal foods, traditional fats, nutrient-dense vegetables, and whatever balance of macros you want there, if you can do that, then your hunger and appetite will be completely different, and you won't crave the things that you're going to be tempted with, or not as much. All right, so make those your priority before going somewhere, a couple of hours before going somewhere that you feel like you're going to be tempted and you don't want to indulge. Then I would say just have a really good nutrient-dense meal, a balanced meal of animal foods, traditional fats, and nutrient-dense vegetables, and you're going to notice your appetite and hunger is completely different. And then if you're there, just choose the right foods. And again, if you decide to let yourself indulge, that's perfectly fine too. Just consciously participate in that process. And then also, I think fasting is very powerful. Just allowing yourself not to eat. Don't feel pressured to eat if you don't feel like it or don't want to. I do it all the time. I go on business lunches and little business meetings, and there's food and a menu, and I drink coffee. I drink water. I choose not to. So that's always an option. Okay. Some other useful tips. Let's see what else. Anything that we didn't cover here. Leading by example. So this comes up all the time during the holiday season. to talk about what you're doing or to not talk about it. So think about it. Do you like being in the presence of someone that is talking about what they're doing? Most people don't, I think. So what I think is most appropriate is just do what you're going to do and don't make a big deal of it. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't owe anyone a reason for what you're doing. In fact, most people aren't even going to pay attention to what you're doing because they're more concerned about themselves. But just do what you're going to do. And just don't make a big deal about it. All right, that's when you feel pressured to start to talk about something. And then when you're in the moment, again, making the best decisions possible, consciously participating in the process. What else? Anything else here that we didn't cover already? Boom. And then be easy on yourself. You know, we don't want to make this feel like it's so strict that we can't enjoy ourselves. But at the same time, we know that this is a problem time for a lot of people. Okay. Now, we covered something. I've covered something with some clients here recently I thought might be beneficial for us, and this is developing what I call my perfect day. So as you're creating like your little envisioning statement and just trying to figure out, having an intention for what you want to do over the holiday seasons or just in general, it might be useful to map out what a good day looks like for you. And plug in all those really beneficial things that are part of your health routine. So I have a blank little template here. I have some things to consider at the bottom. And I think for a lot of people, when you see a visual of what your day could look like or should look like, it's easier to commit to it because you're giving your unconscious mind an embedded command to do that. So you map out your ideal day, you plug in all the things that are important to you, you give yourself a little bit of flexibility and leeway in certain areas. And if you can just get that down on paper and see that, then you're more likely to commit to that. Okay, so here I have a day mapped out from 4 a.m. to 10 p.m., little hour blocks, and then you can write in the things that are important to you that you want to fit in there, and then I give you some suggestions and examples. And as an example, I actually did this with a client, and this is a personal one that we put together for him, and we have some little power statements up here at the top. I'm committed each and every day to the things that keep me healthy and feel amazing. I'm committed to 100% real food. I'm committed to meditation practice session and using my skills as mindfulness during the day. I'm committed to moving every day. And then here we plug in things that are specific to him. And this is what his day looks like. And we plugged in some things that he knew were going to be a challenge. So I have this little 30 minutes of miscellaneous work, which is something that he needed to work on. So we can customize something for you. If you have any questions, comments, you need some help with it, I'm an open book. I'm here to help, okay? All right, any questions or comments or feedback? A couple of really useful tools. The final thing I just want to go over is our holiday recipe guide, which is updated, new, and improved. And so I'm going to skim through this. And if we have anything to add to it, I already have some ideas, actually. I was talking to Adam Prezan this morning. We're going to add the bacon wrapped dates that Colby makes, which are really amazing. So here we have a turkey. We have pineapple glazed ham. And these are all, by the way, meant to be brutally simple, very easy, all right? You could probably enhance these and make them better and more complicated, but we want things that are really simple. We've got sweet potato pork Thanksgiving stuffing. We made this last year. It was so great. Actually, all these have been tested by multiple members of the community, but this stuff is so good. Cauliflower stuffing. We made this last year. We made the pork stuffing the year before. This is really good. Baked sweet potatoes, super simple. Holiday roasted vegetables, super simple. Bacon broccoli salad, which is amazing. We had this at Lombard's house, and we did a little Friendsgiving over there. Roasted Brussels sprouts, super simple and amazing. Honey balsamic roasted Brussels sprouts. We got roasted asparagus, a couple of different versions of mashed potatoes, some spinach balls, some easy gravy, and it really is easy gravy. Cheesy green bean casserole. That was a hit. I remember at Lombard's. So we got a few roll options. We got these coconut flour honey biscuits. Those were really good. And then this year we've been experimenting with different versions of the Brazilian cheese bread. So we've got Brazilian cheese bread in here. And then we've also got a dairy-free version because Arnica can't do dairy or cow dairy. So we use goat cheese and goat milk and things like that and ghee. And so we have a version down below, and it was awesome. Like it just, I'm falling in love with goat cheese and goat dairy type stuff. We've got a cranberry sauce. We've got an apple cobbler, amazing. And a chocolate mousse, again, amazing, super simple. And then these rolls we have perfected. Again, very simple. We actually can make waffles with these rolls. And then we've got the holiday pies that I said in the group that I would share that I have, I usually sell and I've been keeping this recipe to myself, and I think it's just unbelievable how simple it is. But if you want me to make them for you, I will. So we're going to add to this the bacon wrap dates, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we were thinking about before. I don't know if you have any suggestions or comments. Just please let us know. We're also going to post this in the group. Okay.